Hey gang, welcome back to Adventures Outdoors. My name is Frank Zinck. I thought today we'd go over a couple of techniques for fishing for bass, smallmouth bass here at Grand Lake. We're here in Laurie Park camping for the week. Beautiful park. It's an amazing park. If you've never been here, you really should come out and check this park out. It's a great campground. It's right on Grand Lake. Grand Lake has some fabulous smallmouth bass fishing, and they have stripers here, striped bass that are over 30 pounds. I mean, it's really phenomenal. The fishing here is incredible. So I thought I'd go over a couple of my favorite techniques that I've been quite successful on here the last little bit. So let's have a look at it. Two things that I tend to use a lot is rubber worms, and I'll use a Texas rig or I'll use a Wacky Rig. So here's the difference. Basically, a Wacky Rig is where you take a hook and you put it through the center. Now what I sometimes do is I put a ring through the worm and then hook the ring. And what that does is then it doesn't destroy the bait so quickly. So I could just skin it through the bait, but then it just gets tore up when the bass are attacking it. If I put it through a rubber ring or a metal ring, then it doesn't get pulled apart. But what happens is, as you pull it through the water, this thing, as it's falling, will spread out like this, and as you tug it, they'll come back together. So it looks like it's swimming. Let me tell you, this is an extremely effective technique. Wacky Rig is incredible. It's so effective, and the bass just kill it. Only big problem with the Wacky Rig is the fact that the hook is exposed, and if you're fishing a lot of weeds or a lot of rocks or something, something that's shallow, you're going to hook up with this. And so for me, I'm very selective when I use this. In shallow or weeded areas, I'm going to go to a Texas rig. And a Texas rig basically goes like this. Now I use these types of hooks for my Texas rigs. Hopefully you can see that. And so what you do is you skin it and just enough at the nose to come up to this end, and then you give it a twist. So basically you thread it on like that, comes up to the end, you give that a little twist, and then what I do is I go, okay, it's going to come through right about here, so that's where the hook is going to go. Now there's two methods you can do with this. I could take that hook and bury it halfway into the worm. That makes it extremely weedless. You can pull this through lily pads, all kinds of stuff, and not have to worry about it. Or you can leave it level like that. Still not too bad, but the hook is exposed and it will hook on some stuff. My favorite technique with this is what I call a skin hook, where I'm just going to get just a little bit of the skin on that bait, and now it's completely weedless. And as you tug this through the water, the tail will go, and this thing will twist and jump. It's a highly effective rig. So effective. You can also buy these sorts of hooks that have a little weight on the center of it, and they have a screw-on piece. So what happens with this is that this piece gets screwed onto the nose. So you don't actually thread it, you just screw it onto the nose like this. And then all you do is then put it, then you just bring that down and put it through. This particular hook that I have here has a weight on the end of it, on the middle of it. So it falls hook up. So which is cool, because then if you hit the bottom, it's hook up. And then as you're dragging along the bottom, or close to the bottom, it doesn't hook into the rocks or stumps or stuff like that. So that even helps it even more. It sinks it a little bit faster than the other ones without it. The other thing that I will do is I have different gauges and different thicknesses of wire. So if I'm staying pretty top, I'll use a thinner hook. If it's a little lighter, it's the action. Now the one thing about the bass that I notice around here anyway is they don't seem to grab it when it's twitching. They seem to grab it when it's falling, when it's weakest point. So if you're constantly twitching it and constantly reeling it in, you may be losing on bass. For me, it's like twitch, let it fall, 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 twitch, let it fall, let it fall, let it fall. So twitch and reel, right? Twitch and reel, and let it fall. And it's on that fall that they seem to come right after and target it. So these are two of my favorite methods. You can also do it with swim baits, things like that, right? This is a weedless hook, so you see that it's got a little spring on it. It goes underneath so that this becomes weedless. So you can buy special hooks like that. The other thing that I use is tubes. I use tubes an awful lot. And one of the cool things with tubes, you can drop a little bit of scented attractant inside the tube and squish it about every 3 or 4 casts, rescent it. It will, obviously add to the attraction of the bait. And this one here has got a weight in the front of it, so it falls really, really fast, falls really down quite a bit. This is really deep. I love fishing this. It'll land like this, so the hook is off the bottom, and then as you twitch it, because it's here, it'll twitch it this way, so you're not going to easily hook up. You still can hook up obviously with this, but not as easily. And these are killer. Like it's unbelievable. These tubes, the bass go nuts for it. I don't know. Is it a feeding bite or is it a reactionary bite? The way that they crush it sometimes, I gotta say, it seems almost reactionary, where maybe you're too close to the nest, or especially if it's during spawning season. But boy, aggressive. I caught one the other day that probably was over 2, maybe 3 pounds bass, and let me tell you, like, it just attacked, annihilated the bait. It was such an aggressive move. It was something else. But anyway, those are a couple of my favorite things. Now obviously I do like to use live worms and minnows. If you want one more little extra bonus tip, and that is poppers. So these guys float on the surface, okay? So they float on the surface, and as you pull them along, they plop the water forward and make a splash. It looks like a minnow that's in distress, struggling on the surface of the water. So at night, when the bass are coming out to feed, these are just killer, and they're so much fun because the bass come out and you can watch them like come right out of the water after them. They get so aggressive. It's really a lot of fun. I love fishing with poppers because visually it's pleasing. You can see the bass coming out. And you can see them attack it. Really cool. This little brown one here, I can't remember how much this little guy was. Probably a Canadian Tire, maybe $12, $14. Worth every single penny of it. This little brown guy here, he has caught more bass than you could shake a stick at. But so there's some of my favorite techniques. Certainly not all of them. I deal with a lot of different techniques. If I'm fishing for the entire day, I'm trying all kinds of different stuff. I'm throwing everything I can out there and going at it. Obviously, the time of year, the time of day, the type of day, I mean, there's so many variables that will determine how I pick and choose what bait I'm going to use. But really, just go out, have an adventure, have some fun, and you can't go wrong. It's it's so much fun. And if you're in Nova Scotia, come down, go into Grand Lake, enjoy the water, and the scenery here is just beautiful. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, please. We can use everything we can, and don't forget to like it, and provide us a comment. Have you fished Grand Lake? Would you like to come fish Grand Lake? I'd like to hear from you. Let me know. Thanks for watching.